The Emirates Stadium is ready, the atmosphere is building, and Arsenal are walking into this game on the back of one of their most convincing performances of the entire season. 4 goals against Tottenham Hotspur, 1 conceded, a North London derby handled with authority and controlled aggression. That is the form Mikel Arteta's side are carrying into today's clash with Chelsea. But here is the thing, winning that derby felt massive in the moment, and it was. Yet the title race did not pause to applaud. Manchester City went to Leeds United and picked up 3 points of their own. A 1-0 win, quietly efficient, exactly what you expect from a side managed by Pep Guardiola when the pressure is on. The message from the City camp is clear. The title is still in their hands, and it will stay that way unless Arsenal keep winning. So when you frame this Chelsea fixture properly, you understand exactly what is at stake. This is not just another home game. This is Arsenal saying to Manchester City, we are still here, we are still coming, and we are not going away. 3 points today keeps the pressure on. Anything less than 3 points and the narrative begins to shift. That is the reality sitting over the Emirates as kickoff approaches. Chelsea arrive as opponents who have shown enough quality this season to be dangerous. Liam Rosenior has taken over the management of the club, and in terms of results, it has been a mixed picture. There have been positive performances, there has been progress in certain areas, but the defensive record continues to raise questions. And it was raised again just last week when Chelsea were held to a 1-1 draw by Burnley at Stamford Bridge. A team fighting for survival found enough to deny Chelsea 3 points at home. That kind of result leaves marks, it leaves doubt, and it is exactly the kind of form that gives Arsenal confidence walking into this encounter. The stakes here is what is genuinely at risk for both clubs today. For Arsenal, the stakes are about maintaining the belief that a first Premier League title in over 20 years is truly possible. The Gunners have been in this position before, close but not close enough. And the supporters, the staff and the players all know that. Every single drop point now carries more weight than it would have done in October or November. A defeat to Chelsea today would not end the title race, but it would hand psychological momentum straight to Manchester City. It would allow the narrative to shift from Arsenal chasing to Arsenal faltering. And in a title race, narrative matters almost as much as points. For Chelsea, the stakes are different, but equally significant. The top 4 is still within reach for this squad. Liam Rosenior is building something, and the results have been reasonable overall. But a heavy defeat at the Emirates would put further pressure on a defensive unit that has already been inconsistent. It would raise fresh questions about whether Chelsea can compete with the top sides when it truly matters. And it would come at a moment when the squad is already stretched by injuries and suspensions. Before we go deeper into the analysis, I want to say something directly to everyone watching right now. If you want this level of detail on Arsenal stories throughout the season, every match, every transfer window, every tactical breakdown, then hit that subscribe button right now. This channel exists to give you the full picture, not headlines, not clickbait, real analysis, real context. Melissa, Arsenal analyst. Subscribe and stay with us all season. Let us now go through this fixture in full detail, starting with what we know about the teams, the injuries, the tactical picture, and what the evidence tells us about how this game could unfold. Arsenal come into this match with 1 confirmed absentee in Mykhailo. Beyond that, there are real doubts surrounding some important players. Bukayo Saka is a concern. He limped off during the Tottenham win and his availability is not guaranteed. Kai Havertz is also carrying a doubt. Max Dowman and Ben White are listed as uncertainties as well. These are significant names in Arsenal's system, and any combination of absences would require Arteta to adjust. It is worth pausing on the Saka situation for a moment because the evidence around his importance to this team is overwhelming. The question of how Arsenal function when Saka is not at his best or not available at all has followed this squad for some time now. When he is fit and firing, Arsenal are a different proposition. His direct running, his ability to draw fouls, his delivery from wide areas, all of it matters deeply to how Arteta wants to play. If Saka does start today, every movement he makes will be watched closely. If he does not, or if he is managing his fitness, it creates a decision-making challenge for the manager that Chelsea will be hoping to exploit. Despite those doubts, the predicted lineup shows real quality throughout. David Raya in goal, Timber and Hincapie providing the wide defensive cover alongside William Saliba and Gabriel at centre-back. Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard in central positions alongside Zubimendi. And in the forward areas, Saka, Victor Gyokeres and Leandro Trossard. The presence of Gyokeres in that predicted lineup is notable. A striker of his profile leading the line against a Chelsea defensive unit that has been described as unconvincing gives Arsenal a genuine physical and technical advantage in the final third. He is not someone Chelsea's backline will want to deal with when crosses come in or when balls are played in behind. Now let us turn to Chelsea and the significant problems they are dealing with in terms of personnel. Wesley Fofana is suspended. He was sent off during the Burnley draw in a performance that drew widespread criticism defensively. His absence removes a player who, when fit and focused, brings genuine quality to the centre-back position. Without him, Chelsea's backline looks more vulnerable. Marc Cucurella is dealing with a hamstring injury and remains a major doubt. Levi Colwill is sidelined. Jamie Gittins is out. Philip Jorgensen is also a doubt for this fixture. Dario Esugo is likely unavailable, and Estevao, who has shown real promise this season, is a significant concern due to a hamstring issue of his own. Mykhailo Mudryk is suspended alongside Fofana. When you look at that list of absences and doubts, it paints a picture of a Chelsea squad that is stretched at a moment when they can least afford to be. Rosenior will have to work with what is available, and the predicted lineup reflects just how much cover he has lost across key areas. The expected starting 11 for Chelsea in this fixture looks like this. Robert Sanchez in goal, Reece James, Trevoh Chalobah, Renato Tassian, Adara Bioyo and Malo Gusto across the back four. Moises Caicedo and Santos in the midfield, Cole Palmer, Enzo Fernandez and Pedro Neto across the attacking midfield and wide areas. Nicolas Pedro leading the line. That is a lineup with quality in areas. Cole Palmer is a constant threat. Caicedo in midfield has been one of the best defensive midfielders in the division in recent seasons. And Reece James, when fit and available, brings enormous experience and attacking output from right back. But the overall picture is of a team that is short of depth and short of options in crucial positions. The head-to-head record between these clubs is something that adds further weight to the analytical picture here. Arsenal have not lost to Chelsea in 10 consecutive meetings across all competitions. 10 games. That is a run that speaks to a structural advantage that has developed under Arteta. Chelsea's last win against Arsenal came back in 2021 when goals from Romelu Lukaku and Reece James secured a 2-0 win at the Emirates. Since then, the Gunners have consistently found ways to dominate this fixture. The most recent meeting came in the Carabao Cup semi-final in early February. Kai Havertz scoring a late goal to seal progression for Arsenal. The aggregate score across those two legs was 4-2 in Arsenal's favour. Chelsea went out, and they went out convincingly. The psychological weight of that recent history is not something you can ignore in a fixture analysis. Players know these records, managers know them, and they matter when the pressure builds late in a tight game. Now let us talk about the tactical context in more detail, because this is where the analysis becomes most interesting. Arteta's approach to home games against top opposition has evolved considerably. There is no gung-ho approach. There is no open invitation to Chelsea to come and play in behind the Arsenal defensive line. Instead, the Gunners build through structure. They use set pieces as a genuine attacking weapon. And the numbers support that completely. No team in the Premier League has scored more goals from set pieces this season than Arsenal. Not one. When you combine that with the fact that Arsenal average more corners per game than almost every other side in the division, and that Newcastle are the only team in the same category, you understand why set pieces are such a central part of the analysis going into today. Against a Chelsea side that has been defensively inconsistent and is now missing key defensive personnel through injury and suspension, Arsenal's delivery from dead ball situations could be the decisive factor. William Saliba and Gabriel are both genuine aerial threats. Declan Rice is a relentless presence in these moments. And if the Gunners can find even one or two situations where they deliver from corners or free kicks, the probability of converting is significant. The prediction of over 7.5 corners for Arsenal in this fixture reflects exactly this tactical pattern. It is not an arbitrary number. It is grounded in how Arteta sets his team up and how Chelsea's current defensive limitations may be exposed through sustained pressure in wide areas. From Chelsea's perspective, the plan will almost certainly involve Cole Palmer. He is their most creative and dangerous player in the current squad. His ability to drift into central spaces, pick up the ball in pockets between the lines, and either shoot or play the key pass makes him the one figure in this Chelsea lineup who can genuinely change a game on his own. Arsenal will know this. The attention Palmer receives from Rice and Zubimendi in central areas will be one of the most important tactical battles on the pitch today. If Chelsea are to get anything from this game, Palmer needs space and time. If Arsenal can deny him both, the pathway to goal for the visitors becomes extremely narrow. Chelsea's other attacking threats are either unavailable today or are operating without their natural partners and best support around them. Liam Rosenior has done creditable work since arriving at the club. The defensive organisation remains the area where the most work is still needed. Since taking charge, he has rotated personnel at the back regularly, trying different combinations in search of a settled unit. That lack of settled defensive identity is exactly what Arsenal will look to target. Not just through direct running and crossing, but through patient build-up, through drawing Chelsea's backline out of position and through the constant threat of Gyokeres operating in behind. Alan Shearer's assessment of this fixture is worth examining through an analytical lens. He believes Arsenal will overpower Chelsea across the pitch. His reasoning centres on two specific factors. First, the belief and momentum generated by the Tottenham victory. Second, Chelsea's unresolved defensive problems. His view is that Arsenal simply have too much for this Chelsea side right now. That is a position grounded in observable evidence from recent weeks. It is not a case of blind favouritism. It is a reading of form, squad depth and tactical context that points in one direction. The odds reflect this assessment. Arsenal to win this fixture sits at 8-13. Chelsea to win is priced at 19-4. The draw is available at 16-5. The market is telling the same story. The form guide tells Arsenal are heavy favourites, but football does not always follow the form guide, and Chelsea will not accept the underdog role quietly. There is one more dimension to this analysis that deserves attention: the title race context. Arsenal are pursuing their first Premier League title in over 20 years. That fact carries a weight that is difficult to fully quantify but impossible to ignore. Every time this squad has come close in recent seasons, the question has been whether the belief and the nerve would hold at the most important moments. The Tottenham victory showed both. A 4-1 win in a North London derby, played under the full pressure of a title race, is the kind of result that tells you something about a squad's character. The Chelsea fixture is a different kind of test. Not the emotional intensity of a derby against Spurs, but the cold, controlled demand of putting 3 points on the board against a quality opponent when the whole division is watching. The ability to perform in those moments without the adrenaline of derby emotion is often where title-winning squads separate themselves from title-challenging squads. Manchester City winning at Leeds means the pressure does not relent. It means Arsenal cannot afford to look up at the table and feel comfortable. The situation is one where 3 points are the only currency that matters. A draw feels like a defeat. An actual defeat would be a serious blow. Everything we know about this Arsenal squad under Arteta points toward a disciplined, focused response to that pressure. The manager has built his team to handle exactly these moments. And with home advantage, the stronger squad on paper, the better recent record against this opponent, and the set-piece threat that Chelsea will struggle to contain, the weight of evidence supports Arsenal taking the 3 points today. The score prediction of 2-0 is a reflection of Arsenal's defensive solidity as much as their attacking quality. A clean sheet against a Chelsea side carrying these injury and suspension problems is absolutely achievable. And 2 goals from a squad that includes the threat of Gyokeres, the creativity of Odegaard and the delivery of set pieces from multiple angles is equally realistic. Closing thoughts: the evidence points clearly in Arsenal's favour today. The form is there, the squad depth relative to what Chelsea can call upon is there. The tactical advantages in set-piece situations are there, and the psychological edge of 10 unbeaten meetings against this specific opponent is there. Chelsea will have their moments, Palmer will cause problems, Caicedo will compete hard in midfield, and Rosenior will organise his side as well as his resources allow. But the gap between these two squads at this specific point in the season is real. And today feels like a game where that gap could be fully exposed. This is what the title race looks like at this stage of the season. Every game is a statement, every 3 points is a message. And today Arsenal have the opportunity to send a loud one. Stay with Melissa, Arsenal analyst, for full coverage of this fixture and everything that follows. If this analysis gave you the depth and the detail you want from an Arsenal channel, subscribe right now and hit the notification bell so you never miss a breakdown. This is the channel for serious Arsenal analysis, and today is a serious Arsenal day. Let us see what happens at the Emirates.